Good morning, traders. Let's see if I can get into the green today. It seems like a fun market because it just seems like we just keep going up higher. Can we just continue the trend and just keep lifting all boats with this tide that just seems to just keep lifting and lifting? Don't matter what happened. Microsoft with a big rip up yesterday. Just seems like these big stocks can't stop. Will they carry us today? Find out on live trading.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Those words have been dancing around my head all night. Oh, it's Vegas lore, that phrase.
All right, team. We're gonna have to get that Nick Brown into that intro there, man. I'm gonna get my boy in there. But let's go ahead. Let's bring on the guys here. We got Ryan Faluna. We got Nick Brown in the chat. All right, like always, ready to drop some bombs. And if you guys always, like I mentioned yesterday, if you guys have questions on stocks or maybe there's a news catalyst that you guys want to hear a little bit more about, Nick Brown is here for that. Particularly, like that's what he's here for, guys. He's here to bring us the news. He's here to help you guys with research. And also, if you don't understand something, he can do a little bit more research to try to bring us some more information about that. And yes, Mark, I'm with you. I'm ready to get them winner chicken dinners, baby. You guys know how it's about. And I have you guys been seeing one thing I recently saw was how Dana White keeps getting kicked out of casinos because he just keeps getting the winner chicken dinners, baby. He's winning millions on the blackjack table, just like we need to start getting on the trading table over here. We need to be like my man and get kicked out of brokerages because we just make so much money, man. Have you ever heard somebody get kicked out of a brokerage because they made too much? That's how my man's getting kicked out of casinos right now. So, hey, Dana White knows how to play the blackjack. Do we know how to play the markets? Find out today, right? Let's get after it, Nick. Let's go. Come on, man. Want to see you get them millions. All right, let's go to the action. We'll take a look at the market right now. Let's go to really quickly my swing trade outlook. Of course, I do have 5 positions on right now. One position getting smacked right now, and that's Ross Stores. Ross Stores definitely affecting me right now. We'll see what happens on Ross Stores if that does keep coming down. That one I am in the red. What am I in the green with? Steel Dynamics. We opened this one yesterday. Going to look to see if steel can continue lifting today. Names like X. Will we give it to me again? Let's go. We'll see what happens there. And sharpen those pencils, Crow. We're going to be ready for the open here. We got Deer going higher. Deer looking good here. Let's see if it can keep climbing 434s. I'm in from 401. You know what that means? 33 points up on Deer. Let's go. Up 7.7% on this position. Not looking too bad there. LAC now up 2%. We'll see if this one can continue to climb today. And I do have Hilton. That's looking better. We'll see what happens there in lodging. But that's it for my swing trade outlook. Now to kick it to you guys over here. Ryan's going to share his charts and give us a SPY outlook here in just a second. No worries. No worries. No one knows, Ryan. You got to stay quiet. Shh. They can't see it.
Oh, that's funny. Okay. So we'll start with that. The other thing we'll do is we'll talk about Mumu here. Let's go ahead. So yesterday, I'm actually going to start with Mumu because we're going to get the bad out of the way. So yesterday, as you folks remember, I had cooler. I had a plan. The plan worked. The stock did exactly what I had hoped, went as high as 109. I thought that I got my sell and I didn't. And now it's come back in and now I'm down on it. So lesson here is know your trading platform. Don't make mistakes like this. I consider this a rookie mistake. I would grade this trade an F simply on the fact that I made a rookie mistake here. Now I'm still in it, right? So we're still holding it down about $14. Really don't want to go down much more than $20. Mitch and I talked yesterday about having risk reward be anywhere between maybe 8 and 10, maybe 6 to 10 on such a small account. but I screwed it up. So we'll see where we end up here today, what Cooler does today, and then I'll have to manage that trade. I'm certainly not going to let this mistake get any worse than it is. Cigar, you don't have to be sorry. If you made money, then we're happy. This is a small account challenge. It's really a drop in the bucket here. What's actually more important than the final numbers here are going to be any lessons that are taken from this. And the lesson here is that I just simply screwed up. I thought the trade was filled. I should maybe have even used a market order, especially as the stock was coming back in, and I would have been able to collect my profit and move on. Great to see that other people that traded this did not have that same problem. So really good stuff there. I'll let you know how we end up managing that trade today. Now, let's go back to the SPY here. One of the things that we're seeing here is that this is still pushing up here. We do have some resistance at 461. Might have a little bit more resistance in the 455, 456 area as well. One of the other things to consider here, I actually lost it on this chart, but I'll go ahead and turn it back on. If I pop the RSI on, you can see RSI here still really elevated and right under 75, 74.90 our RSI reading. So definitely looking for SPY to pull back here. Yesterday, I had to stop out on my SQQQ trade as that just kept going against me. The market was just raging yesterday. So took a loss on that, but we will take a look and see if we can find re-entry on that. Now, I'm going to go through some movers pretty quickly here. And then I'm going to turn it over to Nick because Nick's got a bunch of news bombs and I don't want to take too much time into the actual market. So first stock here is going to be Carvana, and this is short squeeze city. We're up near $60. Shout out to one of the gentlemen that comes to the happy hour, Sanjay. He doesn't come to this show, but I'll give him a shout out later. He said Carvana could go to 80 on the squeeze that we're seeing, and now we're only 20 points away here. Carvana already having big moves here in the pre-market, likely to be in play again. Looks like we already kind of set a new high here. We'll see if it flirts with another new high once the market opens. The other thing here about Carvana, shares are trading higher for the company reported better than expected Q2 sales and guided positive adjusted EBITDA for Q3. So we've got good news on this stock right under it, kind of driving this momentum here. So this is absolutely going to be in play here today. Next one is going to be SXTP. This is 60 degrees. I think we've traded this before. It's getting a little bit of a pop here this morning. I didn't see any news on this. Yep, still don't really see any news on this. So if you guys find anything, let me know. But we can trade this off the technicals. Good thing here is we're seeing some higher lows here in the pre-market. As long as we hold that, perhaps this can give us our next leg higher. And look at that. My VWAP indicator is gone. Go ahead and just add that back here real quick. So pretty much right at VWAP. We'll see what happens on SXTP. Really, one of the things we need to see is the expanding volume in the regular session. I think if we get that, this might be a good trade opportunity here today. PBLA is going to be another one here. This popping, this was actually as high as 250. It's come in a little bit, but we're hugging that VWAP here. We're still above the VWAP. Panbela Therapeutic shares are trading higher after the company divested certain assets in its L4 pediatric. I'm not even going to read these medical names anymore. It's just an embarrassment. Program to the U.S. World Meds for $9.5 million. So a nice little PR there. PBLA popping. If we take a look at this, you can see it really did kind of pop into this resistance zone. So if we can actually kind of trade sideways and clear out of this zone, that'd be really great. I think you could actually use this level here. Let's call it right around 240 to 245 as support. For some of the day trades here today. So let's see if that materializes as well. Next, we've got VRM. We actually had this one on yesterday. This appeared on the scanner as we got some more volume flow in it. Had a big pop here in the pre-market, push away from VWAP. We'll see if this can take out 268, 269. Nice. Maybe even 270 and then potentially go higher. So VRM looks to be on deck here today. Blue, we've traded this one a number of times. I feel like Blue occasionally makes its round. You can see this makes some pretty outsized moves here. Likes to move up and likes to come back in. So remember, if you do take this and you do get gains in this trade, be sure to take those gains and keep them in your pocket instead of donating them back to Mr. Market. Couple more stocks on here I just wanted to mention real quick. Let me go back to the 1 minute chart. CYN, this is one that we've traded before. This popped and dropped twice already, so be careful with this one if you end up trading it. And Dragonfly Energy is back. So we went as high as almost 215. Looks like 214 was your high print. We're coming back into the VWAP. That's ideal. I'd actually like to see this settle at the VWAP and give us another opportunity. There was another trade. You guys, I think you mentioned someone, Quantum, did you mention ASML? Don't really see a whole lot moving here on that. And then the other thing, there was another one I think that Crow mentioned, SXTP and Vroom from Paul. We covered both of those. Let's go. Crow, you were talking about RBT. There was another one I thought that began with an E. EVLO. There we go. I knew it was up there. I knew I wasn't seeing things this morning. All right, EVLO. Let's take a look at that. Looks like we had a huge day yesterday. The good news here is that we really haven't come back in. We really haven't given up all these gains. And in fact, we're actually right at VWAP here. Volume is going to tell the story today on EVLO. All right, Nick, you ready for some news bombs? Why don't you give us some news drops here? I'll go ahead and get my chart and I'll just drive for you.
If you could put Goldman Sachs up, ticker GS, they reported Q2 earnings this morning. They were the last to report of the big banks. EPS came in at $3.08, below expectations of $3.18. Sales came in at $10.89 billion. Estimate was for $10.84 billion, so they beat there. Global banking and markets revenue, $7.19 billion, down 14% year over year. Asset and wealth management revenues, $3.05 billion. That's down 4% year over year. Provision for credit losses, $615 million versus the $667 million year over year. Investment banking fees, $1.43 billion, down 20% year over year. And equities net revenues, $2.97 billion, roughly flat year over year. If you could put Northern Trust, NTRS up, they reported earnings. They missed on EPS, came in at $1.56. Estimate was for $1.62. They even missed on revenue just a tad, came in at $1.76 billion. Estimate was for $1.77 billion. US Bancorp, USB ticker, adjusted EPS $1.12. Estimate was for $1.12. Sales came in at $7.17 billion, above the expectations of $7.15 billion. And Q2 period end deposits $522 billion. I don't have the estimate for that, but looks like that was pretty healthy. Next bank, M&T, ticker MTB. MT Bank Q2 earnings, adjusted EPS $5.12. Estimate was for $4.11. Sales came in better than expectations of $2.6 billion. Estimate was for $2.39 billion. If you could put up NASDAQ, ticker NDAQ, NDAQ. Adjusted EPS came in at 71 cents. Estimate was for 66 cents. Sales came in at $925 million. Estimate was for $914.85 million. So there was a beat. And a company that reported overnight at like 1 a.m. Eastern time, ASML, ticker ASML Holdings Q2 earnings. EPS came in at $5.37. Estimate was for $5.17. Sales came in at $7.52 billion. Estimate was for $7.51 billion. So another beat there. They expect Q3 gross margins of around 50%, and they see full year net sales growth of 30%. Halliburton, ticker HAL, they reported Q2 earnings this morning. Adjusted EPS came in at 77 cents. Estimate was for 75 cents. Sales came in just a tad bit lower than expected, $5.8 billion. Estimate was for $5.86 billion. Baker Hughes, ticker BKR, they reported Q2 earnings this morning. EPS 39 cents. Estimate was for 33 cents. Sales came in at $6.32 billion. Estimate was for $6.26 billion. Orders grew 28% year over year to $7.5 billion, and free cash flow $623 million. And the last one to report this morning was Activision Blizzard, ticker ATVI. Adjusted EPS came in at $1.08. Estimate was for 88 cents. Sales came in at $2.46 billion. Estimate was for $2.37 billion. They continue to expect at least high single-digit year-over-year growth in net bookings and total segment operating income for 2023. They say the merger agreement with Microsoft was extended to October 18th, 2023, in return for a higher termination fee, new commercial agreements, and Activision Blizzard board declares 99 cents per share dividend. That was the earnings front. Well, did you hear about the FTC this morning, Ryan? Well,
I didn't. Run it down for us.
You can say the FTC and the Department of Justice Antitrust Division announced a long-awaited new guidance on how they will enforce merger law. The agencies push to update their approach to keep up with the digital age. They released new guidelines, and there's about 13 points. Those are meant to give businesses and courts a sense of how the two agencies determine if a deal is unlawful. And then this morning, the Wall Street Journal was out with an exclusive saying that there's a new bipartisan bill that would ban stock trading in government. Polls show that the Wall Street Journal has conducted that there's strong support for banning stocks in Congress, and the bill would outlaw stock ownership and create a database for financial disclosures. Other than that, Credit Suisse, remember, I've been pounding the table within the past week saying these people with 40, 70 targets and way below expectations. Well, Credit Suisse come out with a note yesterday afternoon, and they raised their S&P target to 4,700 from 4,050. And they also raised their 23 and 24 EPS targets to 220 and 237 from 215 and 220. I think they heard my call, basically pounding them and saying that they're wrong. But listen, their 4,700 target is about, what they say, 3.9% above where the S&P is at right now. So really, they're just following the train and admitting that they were wrong.
Yeah, and I've seen that from a lot of places, and I think that one thing that we need to always think about, and I heard a lot of people think about this, and I think that it's kind of common, right? And so when we are in situations where it seems like everyone's playing one way and institutions are telling us all one way, I think we really need to start looking at moments like that, at what could happen in the opposite here. What's the opposite thing that could happen, right? And another thing with that is looking into sectors overall, right? Because let's just be honest, last year, technology was not the place to be. Last year, technology was not the place, and it really hurt a lot of portfolios that are usually heavy weighted. Tech? They're usually like 40% tech and everything else included, right? Well, the truth is now, if you were overweight tech this year, you're absolutely destroying it. And so things like that, I think we need to be thinking about always.
Well, I wasn't even going to say that note too. They specifically said tech is going to lead. And so Jonathan Golub over at Credit Suisse, and a lot of people were asking too yesterday on Twitter. They all thought Credit Suisse was just going to disappear because UBS bought it. But no, I read deeper into that. We're still going to have Credit Suisse and UBS research. So Credit Suisse research is still in effect, but you have to question: do you really believe Jonathan Golub because he had a 40-50 target on the S&P and we're at 4,700? But yeah. we remember Ed Jardini said over the next 18 months, S&P could be anywhere between, I think, 4,700 or 4,800 to 5,400.
All right, guys, I'm going to be looking to see if oil can climb higher today. Gold is looking interesting. NASDAQ and SPY. We'll look to see what happens there. Of course, you guys, yesterday I got out of Marathon Oil. I took the money and ran there. So now I'm in Mumu above the 600. Let's go. 602. Let's go. Let's keep this going. We'll see if I can keep it going now. And one thing that's a good thing is, guess what, guys?
Long
now
SMX
swing trades gone green here in the Mumu account. So pretty happy about starting to swing and looking good in July. Now up 5% in July and pushing.
Long SMX out of the open here. Kind of a risky trade. We'll see how it goes. My price is 24. Looking for a bust above 25 here on SMX.
My dude. Getting after it early. You guys out there, smash the like and start us up with a little bit of like. If you guys enjoy live trading, all right, there's plenty of live trading streams out there, but a lot of them do what? They charge you, right? That's what we're not trying to do. We're trying to be the difference here. We're trying to show you guys live trading without trying to charge you guys, without trying to, get you guys into some chat room and tell you guys we're some furus out there. No, that's not what we're about here. We're all about process. So do us the favor and smash the like out there and show us that you guys enjoyed live trading.
If you do us a flavor, though, make sure the flavor is good.
The flavor.
I'd love it, Mitch, if you just showed up one day with a giant clock necklace. I think that would really,
that would
really be something else.
I think we're looking forward to Halloween already, Ryan. I think that's what
all
you're
right. All right. SMX back up to this 24 spot here. Let's see if it takes it off. 25 going to be the spot that it really needs to get through to go. Looks like we're going here. We're trying.
I'm starting to recover here. I'm looking for pullbacks to 101.10s to start getting long some oil names.
Bang, through 24 on SMX. Let's see what we can do at 25 here.
No pullback in XOM. It just started ripping right back to the upside there. So I might have to look at another oil name that's lagging a little bit. MPC on my radar also. That's starting to get a little bit of a lift there. I'm looking for a little bit of a pullback to maybe get a little bit of that at 119.70s. So I'm looking for oil names on pullbacks right now. That's what I'm looking for, team. I need some pullback action, though. MRO higher here towards 2490s. That's also looking good there. EOG, things like this that I'm looking at. Oxy. It just needs stocks to pull back to the VWAP here, but oil stocks just ripping higher out the gates. And what's leading to the upside? We have healthcare and energy at the top here. Real estate also at the top there. Steel Dynamics is the one that's pulling back on me right now. I'm going to keep an eye on it right now. Steel is pulling back, but X looking a little bit better than Steel Dynamics. So I'll look to see if X can recover 2490s and 25 today. We'll see what happens there.
Mitch, do you have another chart shared? I'm
okay. Sorry. I didn't get a chance to get the OBS one up. So I'll have it up in just a second here, guys.
You got to not say anything. Nobody knows. Just kidding.
Yeah, I got to have that OBS.
Still waiting on SMX here just to see if it busts off 24. If this pulls back beneath the VWAP and has a big knife, we'll just cut it and move on. Penny stock, only a couple of thousand shares here. Not really a big position. Just wanted to take something out of the gate. We'll see if we can build above 24 and then take out 25.
Man, I can't wait to do some new changes, man. I've been working pretty hard on those changes.
I'm excited to see him. Just full disclosure here, Mitch does this thing where he just teases everybody and then doesn't show me. So I have no idea.
It's hard work. I don't even
SMX knifing here right down to the VWAP.
I tease Ryan just as much as you guys out there. Don't worry.
I would argue more. But we also talk about baseball and stuff, so it evens out.
Yeah, it evens out, right? All right, we'll see what happens there on XOM, man. This just started jumping. Like I was looking for the turnaround there, and man, it was just like bop, 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 bop. So I'm looking for pullbacks on these oil names, but it's a big push right now. Technology is just slightly up, so I'm looking, of course, to keep my eye on that. But oil names is what I like right now. QQQ's coming down here. Just be careful there. I do see Microsoft pulling back fast. We could have seen a little bit of some kind of blow off tops. One to watch today, of course, Tesla reporting earnings tonight. Be careful out there. Netflix also. I think Netflix could even push up today and then crash down with the earnings, but just be careful out there, team. A lot of movement. All right, DE going higher, Deer almost to 440s, which was my top end outlook. As we get here towards like 335s, I got to take some profits and then just look for this to keep going. I'm up 8.2% on this, but it's been a monster win for me. Got to start taking some profits, right? I mean, that's what it's all about. We're here to make the money, not just keep pushing it, right? So I'll look for 435s and take some profits off.
Crow on EVLO. This looks interesting, but it's spread like crazy. Just a little too much spread for me. 610 seems to be the spot. Bringing in bids under it. Really, really thin, though, in spread. So just be careful if you're trading EVLO. This does look like it's trying to take out 610. We'll see.
I kind of like that one. I'd like a little pullback here to 550s. That's just because I'm a VWAP type of guy, but we'll see what happens here. Man, those oil stocks just ripping, not giving me a chance. Maybe Gush gives me a chance, but that was a quick move there in oil. All right, let's go to the Explore tab here on Moomoo. We'll take a look here to see what is trading and what's trading up. You can see there's some internet retail going up, internet content, Google up, but Microsoft, Apple in the red, Nvidia in the red, Broadcom in the red. Be careful there. Tesla staying green for the time being. The SPY rotating into the green, like SPY is green. So we'll see if the Qs can get green here. Let's go to the best performing areas. I do see LiDAR concepts up today. Luminar, one that I talked about in pre-market prep this morning, up. Microvision up a little bit. We'll see if that can get up a little bit higher today. Alliance Health could push up like stocks like Humana and CVS. So that's one that I'm going to be on my radar today. HUM, we'll see if that happens or not. That's stock I'm looking at right now as we speak.
RX, big first move here out of the gate. Smoke Tuna, I know that you were on this initially. What happened to my stream there? I know that you were on this initially. Moving here out of the gate. No setup for me on RX. We'll see if this comes back in and sets up, though. SMX really kind of struggling here above its VWAP. Needs to maybe build and then move higher. Stopped at its VWAP on the first time down, though, so that's a good thing. PBLA from the list took this formation out in the pre-market, going higher here. So nice on PBLA. If you took this one in the pre-market or at the open, I'd trim into this move a little bit. Nice, Michael. Looks like you're on that. Ripin, Dan, nice to see you this morning. Looks like you might be on that as well. Awesome stuff here, folks.
Love it, love it, love to see it, guys. Get after it, guys, and let us know what you guys are seeing out there. Carvana definitely in the news today with their earnings. It's actually getting a pullback after their earnings. It was a big push, and of course, they did do an offering. We'll see if it gets smacked today. Definitely did a little bit of an up move and then a little bit of a fake out right back down.
Well, I was going to say, they reported earnings like 2 weeks in advance. They were
nice.
Everybody was worried that normally when you report earnings in advance, that could potentially create some awareness.
Out SMX here, just took the list. 0 for 1 here today.
All right, guys, I just took half profit there on Deere, so have a literally like less than a third left now, just a little bit of a runner piece. I'm going to look to see if it can hold 430s today, but if it breaks 430s, I'll get out. All right, let's keep going. I'm going to look at LAC to see if that can turn around. That is in the red right now. We'll look to see if that turns around to the upside. Looking to see if Basic Materials gets back from the red. It's from the red right now and pulling back. All right, looking around. PayPal being talked about out there. Yeah, that's looking pretty strong on a nice little uplift here. That's been really strong. Now filling the gap almost. Now is when I'll start looking for it to kind of top out around 75, 76. But it's been a nice move there in PayPal. It's filled the gap. And we drew this earlier, right? We didn't draw this when it was filling the gap. I actually drew this on July 10th. It says it right there for you guys. That's what it's all about here. Trying to talk about like ideas, right? I didn't take this trade, but I talked about it. Will they fill the gap? That was from 70. Now you're at the 75. Not a bad little risk there. If you maybe risked off of the 70 from the 69s or 68s, and you risk what, $2 to make a nice little $5 move up. Things like this is what we think about here on live trading with Benzinga. Let's get back to the action. What are you looking at, Ryan? What are you seeing out there?
Lyft. Yeah, we got a couple of people here talking about Lyft. Lyft had some call sweeps here. Nice little move here if you took those. I missed this, was a little late to this. Looks like Richard from the chat nailing Lyft. Also watching RX here. Smoke Tuna caught one early. See what I did there? Caught one early here. 14.99 is going to be one of these spots to break here. We're currently at 14.85. Doing a good job holding this move here. Volume looks good as well. No position in RX for myself, but worth mentioning as we're watching this setup.
All right, guys, I'm going to be looking for LAZR on pullbacks to the VWAP here around 740 and 735 for a swing trade attempt there on LAZR. And this is actually going to be in the Mumu account. Let me see if I could get it, guys. We'll see if it comes back to my level.
Workhorse might be at this spot at 115 here. There's a little bit of size here. We'll see if they can take this off.
First order is going to be out at 1740s. I'm going to be looking to get a pretty good amount there, probably about
soon going. JXJT halted apparently. There was a nice little pop there. That's probably a little thin here. Jay, you're on SOUN. Nice job. Nick getting involved in the chat. You love to see it. Absolutely love it.
All right, putting out orders here for Luminaire Technologies. on Mumu, and I'm laddering to 730s here from 740 on, and I'll show you guys that right now in Mumu here. And so if you go to my trade, you can see it here. You're going to see all these orders right here trying to get filled. There's 3 orders pending: 740, 738, 730s. I'm looking for pullbacks to the VWAP. I'll see if I'm able to get it there on LAZR. I really like this one for the swing. So on my radar both ways for day trades and swings today. All right, going back to you, my friend.
ROIV was kind of watching it with RX, but still kind of interested in this RX trade here. 1490 is stopping it. We'll see if it can break above that here. Try a little on that break, maybe. We'll see. Mitch, your favorite stock is going here. Nightscope, multiple chatters calling Nightscope. RX at 1490. Going to try some here. Got filled at 1489. Let's see if we can take out 90. Nope, pulling it back a little bit here. If this trade goes against me, if we drop below 80, I'll probably cut it because I think maybe we pull back to VWAP and I would reload there. But it's doing a good job so far holding up here. Let's see here. VWAP. I don't know what's going on with my indicator here today. Okay, RX pulling back here. I would say 1471. Oh, we're right there. Let's see if it breaks this candle. If it does, I'll be out here and I'll wait for a setup again. Probably coming back into VWAP on RX.
That stopped out in Steel Dynamics today, guys. Steel Dynamics stopping me out today. So that's red in the swings, but Ross back in the green, Hilton back in the green, took some deer profits, and they covered that Steel Dynamics trade. So not doing too bad there. XOM going higher, oil stocks going higher. I'm looking for pullbacks. Oxy's on VWAP. That's the only one that I kind of see right now.
For this RX, I think we're coming back into the VWAP here. Might just add if we do that. Still trying to hold 1470.
Looking for a little bit more pullback in Oxy to 60-30s, but I'll see if I'm able to get that.
Come on, RX. Let's do something here. Yeah, a Smoke Tuna saying RX will try to hit 15 today. Okay, we're coming back into the VWAP here. Got to be careful. Can't let this trade really go against me.
All right, looking for some pullback here in Oxy towards 60-30s, and then I'm going to try to get in on that one that's on the VWAP. So just looking for patterns in oil to come after it. EOG is another one that I could look at, but that already hit VWAP.
Guys, still watch Workhorse at that 115 spot. We're going to do a VWAP test here on RX. I want to play this one for a bounce off VWAP. If we don't get it, we'll wait for another setup. Took it small so that we could hold it through a pullback as we're trying to buy the topside break. RX might be bouncing here. We shall see. No ad because we didn't actually get down to VWAP. Workhorse trying to take out 115. Long some there, 115.
All right, I like Valero on pullbacks to 116 here. I'm going to look for a pullback on Valero to see if I'm able to get it too. Oxy, Valero on my radar here. Just need a little bit of pullback here.
Mystery Man, we appreciate that and we agree. RX, this would be a clearing out this spot here would be big. 1476, just a little bit of size there. Don't want to hit it in case we come back in.
Oxy went to 37, already back to 50s. Looked like it wants to get to the upside there. WBD doing well today. That's off the VWAP here, looking for a 13 break. That's a smaller name that's trying to get a little bit higher. Q's coming back for a VWAP bounce. We'll see if that goes higher there. Still looking for oil names on pullbacks, but man, these look strong. I'm just trying to get some. Overall, I really like also PXD. That's one to keep an eye out for.
RX looks like it's trying to come back up to that 1490 spot.
PXD looks good off of 1212s.
Workhorse, they refilled 115, so there's more of an offer there after most of it got hit.
These oil names, I like it, but it just needs to start coming back. LAC coming back here. This doesn't look too bad off of the 2135s. Not going to be able to get a lot of these oil names, so I'm looking at LAC right now for a little bit of a trade here on the prop. Took a little bit there, the 43s. Willing to add a little bit here towards like 38s. Let me see if LAC can start just jumping here. LAC is right here on this chart. I'll show you guys that. We'll look to see if that keeps going higher. This is kind of just a red to green type of move. It's more based on the hourly chart. So you see how the 9 EMA is like kind of just coming right back here. Would like it to hold these pullbacks now and come back towards the resistance 2160s. See if it starts to make that red to green, red, then green, take this high 2150. Looking for pullbacks in oil names also, but we'll see if I'm able to get those. Might have to go to the 6 charts today. AMD pulling back there. Chevron going higher. I like Valero on a pullback to 116.
RX trying to bounce off of its VWAP here. Added right at VWAP. We'll see if it can actually move higher here. Come on, RX. Let's go. That was a really good ad. Tactical ad. Let's get back to that 1490 spot and see what we can do.
XPV mentioned in the chat. I like that one, guys. That's a really nice move there off the VWAP. And I've been talking about these China autos and how they could continue going higher with the tax mentions. If Tesla's going higher, yeah, I could see these continuing on the day also. NIO going higher. You could also look at LI as one that maybe gets a lift here. It just started pushing right now. Boom, right there. Nice little move to 3768. This is going to be on the left chart here. Look at that little move in LI. Nice push there. A nice mention, chat.
Our chat's on top of it, like they
Always.
normally are.
All right, starting to get a little bit of a pullback there in AMD. Q's coming down here, so be careful, I think, on pullbacks on tech, but I'm looking elsewhere right now. I'm looking at LAC. That's looking good there for me to take 2150s, 2160s. Going to be looking good now, deeper into the green. I'm up about 10 cents now. We'll see if it goes a little bit higher. Canceling down my ad there, looking for Valero on the pullback. No pullback there. It's just looking like it wants to take 117 and just keep going. So we'll see if I do get pullbacks there. I could maybe look at Gush. Gush looked like it wants to take 132. Gonna have to look for pullbacks in oil. Got to be patient in oil today. I know I want to get in, but you know what I mean? The one thing I don't want to do is overextend myself. Yeah. LAZR is just kind of ripping and not giving me a chance to get in. I tried to get in on the Moomoo account. I have orders just sitting there, but that's a nice move up. I'll look for pullbacks to see if I can get it.
Ryan and Mitch going to see if I feel the burn on Boyle. Why, oh, why do I try? Well, because we're traders and we try those different things. That's just how it goes. I'm guilty of that too. RX trying to move back up to that 1490 spot. Remember, that is a spot here.
Just put a waterproof Band-Aid on yourself and rip it off. It might be better.
Is the waterproof one harder to get off or something?
Yeah, they got that super sticker.
The super sticker.
Oh, man. T with some calls out there. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. We'll see if that takes 1450s today. It's one of those days, guys. We'll see if things go higher today. The Q's pulling back, though. Tech is where I see a little bit of pullback. JPM going down today. Goldman Sachs pulling back a good amount. We'll see if it starts to recover. I was going to say,
Goldman, there's a headline that just crossed the wires, and it's on Pro. It says, CEO David Solomon says, we continue to execute on our share repurchase program cites meaningful headwinds to business. He says, quote, "We are going into a period of lower results."
MRO pushing through 25s. Of course, I had this yesterday at 24. Maybe should have held a little bit of a piece, but one of my biggest things is just get the rewards that I'm looking for in this account, not try to be too greedy. But oil stocks looking pretty good here as I've been looking for this play to really start getting strong. We'll see if it keeps pushing today. On Valero, I'm going to take more of a swing trade attempt here. This is more for start swing trade where I could go in now versus waiting for that 116. So I'm going to take 116.95, look for the 117. And I'm looking for really pullbacks more for the day trade on Valero today. We'll see what happens. XOM, can it keep pushing? Groupon trade working well. That's actually one that we mentioned this morning for potential rips off of short interest on pre-market prep. That's already going there towards 718, 721s. This one looks good on the daily chart. Also for a move back above 720s. It just broke 720s right there. I'd be looking for pullbacks to 715 myself, but this doesn't look too bad there. Groupon, it has high short interest, and some of these stocks keep ripping higher, right? We'll see if that keeps pushing. Beyond Meat is another one that's on radar for 1750s. It's right there right now. There goes Valero, 1715s. It might not give me a pullback in oil today, so we'll see what happens. These look good. I had to take at least some Valero.
RX through 1490. Come on, let's go to 15. Just like Smoke Tuna said, let's do it. 15 up here. There we go, and through, and we'll take that off. Wait for it to set up again. Now we're 1 for 2 here today. Got all that money back on that RX trade. That's how it's done, folks. Let's go. Alexa, talking. I probably just set off a whole bunch of things. Sorry about that. You got a cool name. RX going higher here. I would definitely trim into this move if you added lower. I saw a couple of you flipping this. RX going here. Nice move. Unity, this was a nice little move up. We came back in through the VWAP. It does look like we're kind of settling here. I suspect this might come and test lower, maybe that 48 level. Now, RX, I just got this trade. I'm out of it now, but this might not be done, right? This might not be done. Remember, as that started to come in towards VWAP, took my initial position right up around 1480. As it started to come into VWAP, I added a little bit there. Once we crossed back through 15, we're going to pay ourselves with that. And now I'll wait for another setup. Maybe we'll get another pullback to VWAP here and an opportunity to reload this for a second positive trade. Really want to try and keep the risk minimized here by focusing on the entry. Not so worried about the exit. The stock has run another, I was out at 15.10. Stock has run another 23 cents since I have it. No big deal. I suspect that this is going to set up again.
Long some BTU in the prop, and I like BTU off the hourly, off 2140s. Kind of support there around 2135. So we're going to look for this to go through 2170 on the upside.
Sal, this is a good question here because this is something that I've struggled with. So I'm just going to go ahead and address this. Nick or Mitch, if you need to interrupt me, please do so. Question: how do you stop yourself from taking bigger losses and taking only small gains? There's two things going on here. Number one, to stop yourself from taking bigger losses, set stops and obey them. The biggest reason why I take bigger losses is because I break rules to the downside because I think that the story or that the trade is still going to work out. Stop doing that and you'll immediately stop those losses. The small gains happen, like for example, on RX right here, I bought right around 1480s. It immediately moved lower and it moved down to the VWAP. When I added down there, I'm obviously increasing my risk as it comes and lowering my cost basis. And as it comes up to my new cost basis, the plan hasn't changed. My cost basis has changed a little bit because I've dollar cost average, but the plan is still for this stock to test 1490, break through it, and then break through 15. Well, guess what? That's exactly what we got. So as you're going to do some dollar cost averaging, I would tighten that stop up a little bit so that you reduce the maximum amount of money that you can lose, and then stick to the plan. When that trade went green for me, as I lowered my cost down to 1470s, I didn't want to just take it when it's in 1485 because we're right up at that spot that I've identified. 1560 now on RXRX here. This trade going monster. Sal, let me know if that helps or makes sense.
All right, looking for trades out there, guys. What are you guys seeing out there? I see Valero take off, so at least the swing trade idea wasn't too bad, but we'll see if this can keep pushing. Energy leading to the upside move. So it looks like I was dead right about oil. Should have just grabbed the pullbacks, the small pullbacks that I had at the morning, because all these stocks kind of ripping higher right now. They're like just green up all across the board for me in oil. This is what I'm here for, guys. So you can clearly see that. Look at all the green there. Green. Look at all the green here. There's like what? Like 3 or 4 names red there. Green. 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 It's a green day, baby, in oil. Yep, the black gold out there doing really well today. All right, let's keep going, team. What else are you guys looking at? BTU making a little bit of an up move there. I'll look for that to kind of continue going toward the upside. I like that one. CEIX is another one that I could look at in this space, but that's going already a little bit higher. Going to look for these agricultural inputs to get a little bit stronger here. Can also take a look to see if steel starts to get strong, but that's still weak for me right now. Technology going into the red, so be careful on those names. Overall, I could see them bounce, but they are pretty weak today. NVIDIA is a little bit weak. TSM, Tesla's a little bit stronger. How's TSM doing? That's getting a little bit weak there. How's Apple? That's been strong. We'll see if that comes back. That actually looks pretty weak on the day, and so does Microsoft. We'll see if they come back towards like 361. If Microsoft could get 361, yeah, you could get the Qs to push right back. SPY staying strong right now. Utilities looking well today. So XLU, Duke looking well today. So a lot of strong stocks in the market today. Just be careful out there. Healthcare doing well. Financial services recovering. There's Goldman Sachs now starting to rip to the upside. JPM ripping to the upside. Bank of America goes there. FAS is one way you can play this reversal. It's already starting to push there. We'll see if other kind of banks start to push there. PACW all getting a little bit of a lift today. Wall reported, and that pushed strong. KRE really strong today. Also, red to green as you're getting a move back there to 46.30s. This looks pretty strong there.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Mitch, we are getting some more comments from CEO David Solomon. He said about 5 minutes ago that the investment banking is performing at the lowest level in almost a decade. And we just got from him that there's definitely a pickup in equity capital markets and M&A dialogue. And he also says we feel good about where we are on headcount. In the meantime, Halliburton, they also reported earnings this morning. Halliburton, this headline just crossing the wire literally minutes ago, they expect to generate free cash flow for full year 2023, 30% to 40% higher than last year.
It's crazy there, at least to see Goldman Sachs get the big jump there too. And JPM's just been the best breed for sure.
RXRX, here's that pullback we're waiting for. Let's see if we get to the VWAP.
Looking to see if BTU can now hold VWAP or a little bit slightly underneath that. We'll see if it does hold it. I'm at 2151. MaxN giving me a little bit of an alert. I'm going to keep an eye out on that. That's pulling back a little bit here. I do like this one on the daily chart, but the only thing is it has to hold kind of yesterday's close around 27.24. So it doesn't look too bad on this pullback. We'll look to see if it holds like kind of 27.50s and then comes right back up through the 28.25s. So I'm looking there at 75-cent upside for a 25-cent risk. Let me see if I can get in here at the 27.50s. It doesn't look too bad. I'll take a shot on it. This is solar. Solar's been doing well. If I take a look at the industry, it does look like it's setting up there for another kind of push towards the upside. Even though First Solar is in the red, you got EMPH in the green, SEDG setting up for maybe a kind of little up move off this 276. Doesn't look too bad. You just got to be careful there with like a stock like SEDG.
GOEV for you penny players here, looking like it's trying to take out 80 cents to the upside. No position for me. Here we go. Let's see on GOEV. See if it takes this out. This is a pretty decent move already here. It looks a little extended. Mitch, you don't feel any good about taking anything on like an upside break, right? You're always trying to add on weakness, whether it be for a swing or a day trade.
Yeah, when you're swinging, I think it's okay to maybe buy a little bit on strength if you understand that where your kind of pullback entry would be. So like, let's say like for me, like on Valero, right? It was starting to get to 117, but really I wanted 116, right? And I said it multiple times. That's why I went for the swing trade, because the swing trade, I can allow the risk to go down to 115 and then maybe add at 116. But if I day trade there, if I buy that at 117, I'd have to risk right off that 116. And I'm already expecting to pull back to that level.
Okay.
So then that wouldn't necessarily make sense for me to go at it in the day trade. It makes more sense for me to give it a little bit of room on the swing trade. Another thing is the daily charts make sense. When the daily charts make sense for moves to the upside, that's when I try to more go for swing trade actions than the day trade actions, right? That's Valero right now. I'm expecting oil to kind of go higher and kind of catch people by surprise. And that's why I'm seeing XOM kind of push off that 101. I like that level to maybe risk off of also for swings. But can I buy XOM at 102.15 right now? No, I can't do it. I'd have to look for a pullback here towards VWAP, and I'll show you guys what that would look like. It's like, do I buy the high here at 102? No, I'd look for the pullback to 101.50 area, and then I could get in on the day trade. Swing trade, yeah, you can maybe just risk $2 here. That's the difference between swing trading and day trading. You can give yourself more room, more cushion. And what are you going to do there? You're going to adjust your sizing to give you that ability.
All right, good stuff there, Mitch. Real quick, let me get out of the full screen here. GOEV did go through that 80 cents that we talked about. That's pushing 82 cents right now. I opted not to take that. It was one of the reasons why I was asking Mitch about that upside break. Didn't necessarily want to take that. Workhorse, however, did take out that 115, and look at this. It took out 116, currently bidding 117, ask at 118. This spot right here, I think we probably go 118. Looks to be a break if we can move higher here. Remember, long Workhorse 115 on that trade.
My boy, going the Workhorse.
You know it, Mitch. You know it.
You guys know that's how I got hired here at Benzinga, right? You guys want to hear that story?
I mean, yeah.
Chat, you guys let me know if you guys want to hear that story. I know it's 10:04, so I'll hold that for a little bit later today. But I can talk about that story about Workhorse and how I got hired off of that. At least I think I got hired off of that.
I was going to say, guys, we are getting some news out of Microsoft. The journal's reporting that Microsoft plans to offer some cybersecurity tools free after suspected China attack. The company says it will make security logs available to customers with lower-cost cloud services.
Stock's getting hit on that.
I was going to say shares are just about flat, now higher as we talk about this. But, you know, we're still waiting with the Microsoft Activision deal. They're going to be reporting earnings in a week or two. So there's going to be some volatility around this stock. And I think there was an upgrade this morning or some kind of reaffirm this morning. I'm going to go back into the research notes, double check that. And if I have anything else, you know, sticking around here, trying to chat with the chat here, see what they got. But, you know, live trading is the best place to be right now.
I was going to say, it looks like you're doing more than trying, Nick, but I appreciate that.
Yeah, Nick, actually, I'm looking at a trade based off what you just said, and that's what I love of having you here. So I'm actually looking at a short right now on Zscaler. I just grabbed a little bit there. So why would I short Zscaler here? Well, the big thing there is what? If Microsoft is going to give things for free, what things could get affected? Well, the cybersecurity stocks. I saw PanW first make a down move there. So I was trying to consider which one do I go after? Well, PanW is kind of leading the way to the downside there. So I'm going after Zscaler here that has a little bit of topping in the 157.50s. So I can risk off of kind of 158 right now, get in here at 157, risk about $1. look for this to come right back down on the day. Last time this was mentioned with Microsoft mentioning cybersecurity, we did see a little bit of a down move in Zscaler. Let's see if this actually brings the kind of leak right back down, and just taking a shot off of what my man Nick Brown just said. That's what it's about sometimes, right? That's what we got my man Nick Brown in the chat right here coming after us. Before he was just dropping some bombs in the chat. Now he's here going live for you guys. Smash the like for that.
Live news.
CrowdStrike is doing fine. I would say, Leo, I looked at CrowdStrike and I chose not to short CrowdStrike because the daily chart looks a lot better on that one.
Mitch, we effectively have our own squawker with Nick here on our show. We have our own news squawker on the show, literally breaking news and reading it to you. Like, how awesome is that? How awesome is that? I've had a lot of coffee this morning. I might be a little overly excited. So
coffee's good for you, Ryan. It's better than the Pepsi and the Dr. Pepper.
Oh, you're damn right. You weren't here when I gave a quiz. What are the 5 healthiest drinks that humans can drink? Coffee, I believe, is number 4.
When we're all doing something right?
That's right. Green tea, black tea, coffee is 3, actually, water and red wine. All the things that I drink. Man, if they could add bubbly to that list. Okay, enough joking around here. Couple of other things that I was seeing. I was just actually watching SXTP. I didn't talk about it. I had it on the screen when you flipped over to it. It looked like it was trying to go through VWAP. Now look, it stopped right here on the VWAP. We actually haven't continued to break down. Now we have a lower high. All real good stuff. Let's see if this gets back up and then moves through VWAP. Alyssa, this is true. Coffee isn't good for you if you had acid reflux. That is true, and I feel bad for those people. Ryan, overly excited.
That's probably what affects me, but I still have it every morning.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I'm not quitting coffee. I mean, sure, I'm alive, but why? I mean, if you can't drink coffee, why?
I hear you, Alyssa. Don't worry. We live that Tums life. Honestly, Tums cannot be cancerous because I would be screwed. Live that Tums life, baby. Alyssa said, laugh out loud. Yup, yum Tums, fuck the world.
That's for the win, is I think what that means.
No, for me, it's fuck the world.
Wisdom saying Ryan looks super happy today. Like he got a hole in one. I did not get a hole in one. But let me tell you this, Wisdom. If and when I get my first hole in one, you will know. There will be no, maybe he did. I'm not sure. You will know for sure. I was just saying earlier to somebody, I got a really good night's sleep last night. I feel rested today. I lost on my first trade out of the gate, and then I took RX and made all that back and more. So feeling real good, keeping the emotions and the positive vibes going. PBLA going for 3, says Crow. Let's take a look at that. This is the interesting thing here about PBLA is we are holding this VWAP to the upside. Crow, you got me intrigued now.
Man, LAZR never pulled back.
Hey guys, I was going to say we do have more breaking news. This is regarding Netflix. Shares, I don't think they're really moving right now. Last I checked, I think they were flat to
down 0.5%.
I was going to say Variety is reporting that Netflix is no longer offering its cheapest streaming plan without ads in the US and in the UK, with the company aiming to push value concise consumers to sign up for its advertising supported package. The basic plan, which provided a single stream for $9.99 a month in the US and $6.99 a month in the UK, is no longer available for new or rejoining members in the respective countries. According to Netflix, existing basic members can remain on this plan until you change plans or cancel your account.
Well, I wonder who mentioned that specific thing in earnings watch out for on pre-market prep. You know who it was. Your boy Money Mitch literally talked about watch out for the tier change in Netflix. One thing that I've been hearing rumored out there, that you would have kind of more of your kind of lower tiered, higher tiered on Netflix, and boom, there you guys have it. Now the report comes out, and I thought that could affect Netflix. And it already has gotten the lift with the password sharing, right? I thought the lift could be to 500. And that's why I wouldn't short it today, because it still hasn't gotten there. So I don't know, man. I don't know if you actually go shorting Netflix, even though I do think it could pull back also, right? It's just kind of one of these stocks that is so strong right now. Even if you get that downside action move, is it really going to break Netflix? That's one thing I'd be worried about. Like Nvidia, even if it goes down a little bit on earnings, is that going to like get destroyed? I don't think so. That's the harder part to trade these names, but we'll find out, guys. Zscaler getting out there. It did jump right back towards the upside. So getting out on that trade out there, $64 hit there. And like always, respecting my risk to reward, right? If not, you pay the price a lot of the times. So there you guys getting a hit on Zscaler. I'm down probably about like $100 right now. BTU, the only one in the green for me right now. We'll see. I've gotten hit on the LAC. I've gotten hit on Zscaler. We'll see if these can come back. All right, I'm looking for some trades out there. You guys, what are you guys taking a look at? The Q's starting to come back up, so that could affect to the upside some tech names. We'll see if that can come back here. Microsoft, names like that, right? Will Apple get the lift? Apple's trying to come back to VWAP. BTU not giving me that fill there. Looking for the push higher now through the 2160s and the 2170s. We'll look to see if that one starts to trend. XOM now starting to pull back, so I'll look for some pullback in oil names. If I can get the pullback towards that 116 on Valero, names like that, yeah, I'll take a shot there, but looking for pullbacks. Got to get the VWAPs. Oxy's been bouncing off the VWAPs multiple times. That looks a little bit better here for the nice little push towards 60.75. It's a nice little pattern there on Oxy. Wouldn't want to see it go back through 60, 50s now. So start making its move to 61 here. It doesn't look too bad there. I'm going to try to get Oxy really quickly. See if I can get a pullback here to 55s.
I was going to say FTC Chair Lena Khan is currently on CNBC right now for an interview. She was originally supposed to be on this morning at 8:30, but there was weather delays, so they had to move her back to 10:15, which is now. So she's on. She's talking about the new FTC and the DOJ rules. I'll listen in. If there's any other headlines, I'll break in with that.
Yeah, that'd be great, Nick. If she gives us any context as to why her performance is so bad, I'd like to hear that too.
Okay, one thing we got to be careful with in oil is we're supposed to get oil numbers at 10:30. So when I start getting to this point where it's 10:15 and I want to go long oil stocks, does it make sense here, right? Because numbers could shake things up here on that. I think they're going to come to the positive. So I could just try to take a shot. So I might just take a smaller shot now since the numbers would come in. And then if anything, if the numbers support my trade position, add to that. That's what I'm probably going to do here on Oxy. So I'm taking a little bit on Oxy there.
Staff Sergeant Ryan, good to see you this morning. You will definitely be back on the golf course swinging after your recovery. Maybe we'll get a round in.
Hey, that's what I love to hear, man.
Yes, sir.
BTU now starting to get to the upside. That doesn't look too bad. We'll look to see if that can continue. I like this one. Also, oil going up usually affects coal to go up. So I'm going to look for that too. And I could look for some other coal players to kind of get the lift. AMR is one that I look at. ARLP is another one that's going higher right now. We'll see if those get the lift there.
Yes. Lucky you, Garcia. Workhorse did break out. It broke that one. Remember, the spots were 116, 118. I guess you could say 122. 120 also, I guess, would make that more clear. 120. Currently 121 ask. I'm still in long from 115. I'd like for this to grind a little bit higher. One thing, though, keep in mind, I do have a stop set to prevent the trade from going against me. So my stop is set at 116, 1 cent higher than where I actually bought. It is impossible for this trade to go red on me. So if you see the price and it's below 116, I was stopped out of that trade. Otherwise, I'm going to try and let this run. And this kind of goes back to what Sal was saying. Sal, the entry on Workhorse was excellent. It was literally right at the spot. I think at one point it dropped to 114, 1 cent below. Not a big deal for the trade there. And then now that I'm positive here, one of the things that I'm doing to kind of control that emotion and allowing the trade to actually work for me is I'm having my broker set a stop. I'm actually setting a physical stop in the broker to ensure that if this does come in while I'm looking at something else, that I don't go red on the trade. I don't take an L on the trade. Yes, my gains will be small. I only sold for a 1 cent gain, but that's better than taking a loss after a trade has worked out here. I think Workhorse can go higher. I was watching PBLA here is wild when it gets to this 295 zone. We'll see what happens. But with Workhorse, yeah, I want to let this go a little bit. Great question, though. I am still in. I will update you if I close it. Buzz saying coolers going back to 1. Is Ryan going to get bailed out? Is Ryan going to get lucky and get bailed out? Oh, my goodness, folks. Sometimes, and this is not all the time, but sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Let's see if Cooler can move through 1 here. If it can, I'll be bailed out of this trade. Remember, my entry was 97 cents. I'm currently up $3 after being down $14 earlier this morning. Let's see if we can move through 1. Great shout there. Thank you very much.
Okay, now one thing that I would keep in mind, at least my personal preference here, if I'm going through that situation, Ryan, at this point, and I feel like I've gotten bailed out on a position, one thing that I would definitely think of is what's my risk from here on? If this does turn back to the red, what are you going to risk, Ryan?
Yep. So this, remember, Mitch, this goes back to Sal's question earlier. I was down. I felt kind of crappy because I botched the trade. It was all me. It was all my fault. Nobody else's fault but mine. And now I'm getting back in there. So what I would do is I would say stop at break even. It's no longer a day trade. Remember, I bought this yesterday, so I'm not even burning a day trade at this point. Let's do a stop at break even, maybe a little bit higher, see what happens on Workhorse. So we're going to go ahead and set this up right now. Limit order to sell. We're going to go ahead and do max sell right here, and then we're going to put 98 cents. We're going to go 1 cent higher. Unlock the trade here. Put in my secret code. Okay, so we're going to do this. We're going to do 98 cents limit order for sale. Make sure remember the lesson that I learned yesterday is know your broker. So I'm just kind of reviewing my order right here. Limit, sell, 98 cents.
Let's go. That's what I like to see there. Setting up the moo action. You guys smash the like out there, guys.
Okay. So this is funny. So unlike yesterday, when I placed that limit order, this one was immediately filled. Remember, yesterday it said pending. This one said filled. I'm out for a $3 profit. So,
hey,
okay.
Sometimes I'll tell you right now, majority of the times, if you have that bid and you hit the bid or you hit the offer there, a lot of the times I've seen some quick fills there on Moo. So nice little fill at least for you there, Ryan.
But you know what, Mitch, to your point, like maybe this does go a little bit higher and I am going to lose out on profit. Let's be honest. I'm going to lose out on some profit there. But I made a mistake yesterday and instead of emotionally reacting to the mistake, I stayed patient. Today, I was rewarded via luck. I got bailed out of that position. Now we move on. Cool thing here again is we didn't burn a day trade. Remember, the original plan was for a day trade. We're not doing that. Or we haven't done that. Workhorse 125 ask, 124 bid. Good stuff.
Nice there, guys. All right. So on the prop, I had BTU at 21.51. I have Oxy at 60.55. That's looking pretty good on that Oxy. Made a move to 60.65. Remember, 10.30, you get some oil numbers. That could change everything. Max N, I went for it, team. I got 27.43s off the bottom there. Looking for First Solar to go back higher through 202. We'll see if that happens. A rejection to 200 would be that kind of that move where I see this industry kind of take a hit today. We'll see what happens. Boom. This is fun today, guys. There's been a lot of action today. So smash the like if you guys are having a good time out there, team. It's been that kind of day. It's one of those days where I feel like it's just nothing but a horse race out the gates here, guys. We got Nick Brown with the announcement here.
I was going to say, Mitch, she has just no specific headlines have been coming up, but the banners that I've been able to catch on the TV here, on the computer here, was she says that there's clear need to revise guidelines. Guidelines address key issues we are seeing across markets. New guidelines reflect the state of the U.S., of the state of the government. And she says our obligation is to preserve competition and protect the public.
AI getting a recent spike. That's going higher. That looks like a good name to keep an eye out for. That's actually starting to get strong again. I know a lot of people ask me about AI. I haven't been that best on AI. I've made a really good gain in the prop one time on AI, but not coming after it here. It's up there at 42.50s and looks like it could keep pushing towards 43s next spot.
Next spot here on Workhorse, by the way, I have 139 on Workhorse as we continue to push up here. Gonna let this trade work for me. Gonna move my stop up as well. Garcia, you were asking about that earlier. Forgot the first part of your name there. I'm really sorry about that, but you were asking about it. So what am I doing here? Moving the stop up from 116 to 120. That way I'm guaranteeing myself more profit.
Market going higher there. That's definitely going to help. And why is it getting a nice little pump there? Financial services going higher here. You're seeing Goldman get higher. A lot of those stocks pushing up. Just carrying the market there. BABA on pullback doesn't look too bad here. Of course, with the market doing better, it just doesn't look bad at all here for a trade on BABA. Might go after this one too. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it, guys. All right, going to go in a little bit smaller since I have a lot of trades on, but I just took a little bit of a piece there on BABA. Long. So China tech names. Let's see if they can get higher. PDD is actually in the red, so I'm going to look for JD to kind of lead to the upside also. That's also another little setup there.
Voodoo, welcome back, my man. How are you doing out there? How are you doing out there? Good to see you. We've added Nick Brown to the show. Hope you are doing well. What are you trading?
I'm taking some shots today, guys.
Dude, yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm just really happy that taking that loss right out of the gate, we were able to just really quickly recover. That changes the entire day. Workhorse coming back in. Remember, my stop was moved up to 120, currently 123 ask. All right, let me go over Paul's question here. Turn this over to the group as well. Ryan, you see this rising wedge on QQQ? So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and see if I can draw this here for you. Let me know if I'm drawing it the same way that, oops. Let me get some more space here real quick. Let me see if I'm drawing it the same way that you are. And I think you probably also have something like this in here. Oh, no, you probably have, it's more of a wedge shape. Let me know how you're actually drawing this here. This rising wedge. This is actually just kind of looks like it's in a channel, but I don't have my spots correct on here. Let me finish off. Geez, coffee. With the rest of your question here. If Tesla and Netflix don't move higher after earnings, we could see 380. So you're thinking a pullback here, 380 puts us right in here. I think you could see more than that, to be quite honest with you. I think the Q's, look at this move. Q's really, really extended. You're talking about a very, very small retracement here. I think if things break, especially on catalysts like earnings, you could see a larger retracement in that name. I'm going to leave this trend line on here for right now. I see. 15-minute chart over a few days. So I think then what you're talking about is something like this. A few days. This would be you probably drawing. Let's see. Are you drawing something like this? I'm sorry, I'm struggling so much. Wish you could actually just share the chart with me. You're thinking a comeback into 380. This is about in that same area. I think we could actually go lower, though. Good stuff, though, Paul. Let me get rid of those. Let me get rid of those lines there.
Man, I am taking some trades today.
What are you taking? What are you taking? Let's get 'em up.
I just get a swing trade on Valet. I talked about the 14 yesterday. It's starting to make that move to 14 and holding a couple of wicks there, so I can risk off of the 1350s at the 13. I'm going to risk all the way to the 13 here and look for this to start really moving higher. I think this could get back there to 17, 16. So just got to risk about a point to see if I can get 2 or 3 points. I'll take that. I also got Max N. That looks good right now. And I'm taking some shots on the swings, right? I took in Valero today. Hilton, I'm looking to see if that gets back into the green for the day. LAZR, I also went for the swing trade. I said, you know what? I can't help myself. If I'm not going to get pullbacks into Mumu, I'm willing to take it in my other account there. So I grabbed a little piece right now, looking for LAZR to come back to 745s today, 740s. But hey, man, 7 trades on in the swing trade. So start swing trade later today. It's going to be fun talking about that for sure. We'll see how those play out. Baba is pulling back on me a little bit too much here. So just got to keep a close eye on Baba. Going to let it attempt here to the 93.50s. But if it doesn't recover, probably going to have to let it go. GS ripping. Yes, GS is ripping. Goldman Sachs.
Little dip and rip there for Goldman Sachs.
Man, I was talking about this earlier today. This seemed like institutionals hit it in the pre-market and then bought it at the open. And so that's just a tough way to kind of deal with that. And so another thing to keep in mind is the pattern of GS has a tendency of doing what? Getting hit off of the JPM earnings. Then a little bit later, it gets hit before their earnings, then comes back up after their earnings. Usually have a tendency of having investors just buy it right back. And you're seeing a lot of banks kind of get the lift today. Bank of America was pushing strong. Look at that nice little push off the 30s. So keep your eyes on that one. Morgan Stanley, another one. I actually like Morgan Stanley on pullbacks. Doesn't look too bad there.
Watching PBLA here, Crow had mentioned PBLA. Looks like it's still flirting with this area that's pretty dangerous. 290 to 295 on PBLA. Coming back into the VWAP here, that actually might make for a good ad. It actually popped through 290. They refilled it with stock for sales, so we'll see if it can actually push up to that 295. That's got to clear out for this to move higher to 3.
Starting to get a pullback, guys. Just be careful out there. The Q's coming down there significantly. SPY coming down pretty fast also. So just be careful, guys. We're seeing a little bit of topping, and I see topping on the SPY here. 4 attempts to go through like 456 today, 456.25s. We want to recover 456 and break towards 456.50s here. But if not, we could get a little bit of some pullback action. Be careful out there, team. SPY looking a little heavy here.
Well, Mitch, I was going to say Apple. If you could take a look at that stock, B of A this morning, just put this out on Twitter moments ago. B of A reiterated it as neutral, I believe. Neutral. They reiterated it as neutral, but they upped their price target to 210 from 190. And they say that, quote, we expect weaker iPhone demand. Checks indicate weak production trends to be somewhat offset by resilience in services. App Store growth better, subscription strong, and FX trends 1% headwind, which is better than guidance of 4% headwind. So they up the target but remain neutral.
All right, oil numbers are expected to come in here also at 10:30. If you can catch those in a little bit there, that would help. All right, Oxy, I'm still in Oxy, still looking at my positions here. A lot of pulling back now with that pullback, so just be careful out there, traders. See if Maxen can start making its way back. That doesn't look too bad there. That one looks like the best one of the bunch that I have. Baba's the one that might squeeze me down, get me out, but it definitely is catching me by surprise here on that pullback. Needed to come back ripping here. If not, just going to get out there. Q's going lower there now. Doesn't look the best, but at least you got some lower levels to maybe risk off of. But if those give up, just be careful out there. You could see some downside come in. Nvidia looking weak here off the 471s. Doesn't look the best. Needs to recover towards 473. If not, you could see a wash to the downside there. Is Tesla flipping? No, it's actually looking a little bit strong there. Apple looking a little weak there. Microsoft weak a little bit. So just looking around to the bigger names to see if those are going to stay strong. Even PanW recovering a little bit, even though Microsoft mentioned that news. I think it was kind of like a one of those headlines that gets repeated. Just so one of that not affecting PanW as it did the first time. Whew, it's one of those days, guys. A lot of action. A lot of action. I'll tell you that much. Baba getting a little bit of a bounce, but more than likely you can still get out on that name.
Mitch, I was going to say those oil numbers that you wanted, just crossing the wires here. U.S. crude oil inventories, a draw of 0.708 million versus a draw of 2.44 million was the estimate. Build of 5.946 million, which was prior. The EIA weekly stocks build, the affiliates stocks a build of 0.014 million versus a build of 0.460 million, build of 4.815 million prior. For gasoline. I was going to say that was for EIA. Then gasoline was on inventories of a draw of 1.06 million versus a draw of 1.57 million. That was the estimate. And there was a draw of 0.003 million prior.
We'll see how it affects the oil stocks now. Keeping an eye also on the futures out there on crude oil. So keep your eyes on that to see how that keeps moving. So keeping a watch to see if crude oil is going to continue going higher. If we can continue in the 76 today and go towards 77, 78, it could keep pushing. Oxy's pulling back here. I kind of expect a little bit of a pullback. Just wanted to hold 60 30s. If not, it could go to 60. And I don't want to hold all the way down there. So we'll see if we kind of catch a little bit of a bid here down towards the 60 30s.
PBLA breaking through that VWAP to the downside here. So this is probably it, unless it can recover it in this candle. I think that's probably it here. Crow, looks like you're out of PBLA now. Looks like this is going to try and move lower here. See if it can just quickly. There's the VWAP recover, but it immediately sold into. Sal, go ahead and email me a question. You should have my email already. Happy to answer it to the best of my ability.
What do you mean, Ryan? You can answer anything off the spot.
I mean, I try.
I was going to say the Atlanta Fed GDP now, guys, still sitting at 2.4%. Very interesting to see. Bank of America and I think Goldman both, I believe Goldman yesterday upped their Q2 target 2.3%, I think, for Q2 GDP. So we'll have to watch that. And I think we get another update from the Atlanta Fed this week.
Question here from Raz. Did you look at QCOM today? I saw there was some news today, but Nick, maybe you can cover that for Raz here. By the way, Workhorse coming back in close to my stop, 222 ask. My stop's at 122 ask, excuse me. Stop is 120.
Stopped out there in Baba, stopped out in Baba.
Raz, I'm doing good. How about you, my man? Yep, stopped out of PBLA here. This is going lower.
Did you say Qualcomm, their shares are trading higher after it collaborated with Meta Platforms to tap its Llama 2 large language models directly on a device? Checking the calls of the day just to see if there was any. JP Morgan did add Qualcomm and HP to the focus list. They say they placed Qualcomm on the analyst focus list as a growth idea and a positive catalyst watch for upcoming earnings print. They also add HPQ to analyst focus list as a value idea.
All right, getting some pullback there in BTU. Just keeping an eye on it. Oxy back towards 60 40s. XOM pulling back off of that oil news there coming in. VLO might get that 116 chance today. Max Sen's the only one in the green right now for me. Just keeping an eye on that one.
Nick, did you address the rumor that we heard yesterday about Apple potentially buying Disney? I know Bex asked about that earlier in the chat here today. Did see this yesterday, Disney trading up on this pullback to VWAP here. To me, it makes sense for Apple. Apple's in dire need of content. Disney's been buying content over the past 12 years from everywhere from Marvel, Lucasfilm, Pixar, Fox assets, all of that. So, and Apple can buy them outright here. To me, it makes sense, but I don't have any inkling on if it's going to happen or not.
I was going to say there wasn't anything that touched the wires that I could see on my end. It was just a rumor that was going around.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, they did upgrade Apple. So I know Apple has been running lately. They report first week of August 3rd. So we're going to have to see. I don't know when Disney reports. That should be coming very shortly.
I can tell you. We have the next print confirmed for August 9th.
Okay, I was going to say, so they're
After
that
market
week
hours.
or that week after Apple. So we'll probably get some commentary.
PBLA is trying to hold and curl and possibly move through VWAP here on PBLA. We just got stopped out of that. Whoa, what happened here?
Mitch, in regard, and Ryan, into regard to oil stocks, headline just crossing that the crude oil stocks in the SPR rose by 1,000 barrels last week. That's the first increase since January of 2021. That's per the EIA.
We'll see if I'm able to add on Oxy here and then go for the swing. 60-30s I'll add and then look for the big push. Got to risk off the 60-10 there. Looking at BTU also to see if it can come back up. Just wanted to hold around 2140s and start making its way back through 2150s. Then I can add to it.
Real quick, Mitch. We talked about this a couple of days ago. Also mentioned this to the happy hour crew. Possible breakout here on net, which is Cloudflare above this 2235 level. We're currently at 7535. Excuse me. We're currently at 7525. Here, let me get that. Breakout was 7235. Currently at 75.25. So this breakout looking pretty good here. Unsure how much more this can go. Definitely going to run into some support here around the 82 handle. But this one working here so far on CrowdStrike.
There you go. Just got that Oxy filled there now at 60-43s. Got a wrist tight here now towards the 60-25 area, 60-20s. Really, it can go to 60-10, but that's kind of like extreme risk. Got to be careful here. Got to turn around pretty quickly. We'll see what happens there. GOLD doing well today. Barrick Gold, maybe take a look to see if that gets back up a little bit higher.
Man U, breaking news. Unsure if the family wants to sell. Man U trading lower here.
Ooh, Man U. Man U trading lower off of that. We'll see if that
little bit of a
affects it
dip
here.
and then it bounced a little. Watch Man U though here. No position for me. I'm not trading this.
Oh, and today they did give a little bit of a fake out to the upside in the pre-market. So that's a little bit of a rough one there. Now taking a little bit of some downside action there on Man U.
Yep.
This is actually taking a pretty good hit, pretty good whack here now. Look at that. Man U going lower. Ooh, that's a nice little 20-cent whack there.
Yep, and that's how you can trade off news right there. I didn't take that one though. That's a short side trade.
Yeah, I was looking to see if I'd take it, but I need a little bounce here towards like 23.45, 23.50s. If it bounces there, then maybe it doesn't seem too bad to take the shot, right? At least you can get like 25 cents to the downside outlook for the minimum. We'll see what happens. All right, now looking for Oxy to start bouncing around here. This is kind of the levels that I was going to look for it to come right back up towards the highs. Look to it if it actually can do that.
I was going to say, into that report, Manu, The Guardian has an article out basically saying Ratcliffe ready for Manchester United sells verdict to roll into the next season. They say Ratcliffe trying to buy majority shareholding from Glazers, but he remains patient regarding the process that began last November.
Alexa saying, Ryan, that family is killing my beloved Man U. I know. Alexa, one of my best friends that watches soccer, he is a gigantic Manchester United fan. He's been saying similar things for a long time. Definitely not happy with the ownership group. Man U definitely kind of fallen from some of its graces. We're a long way away from King Eric and Ronaldo, of course. So we'll see what happens there.
Liking that BTU's coming back, but want to see it start pushing before I add. Maxen turning around, the Q's weighing. Now the Q's ripping to the upside, guys. Let's see if we start getting this upside move here. Microsoft ripping higher, guys. Apple ripping to the upside. Now you're starting to get those stocks to kind of push. Tesla continuing, man. That's had a nice little push on the day. So Tesla really strong there. Amazon, we'll see if Amazon continues higher. And I know it was looking good earlier. That's looking like it wants to hold this 135 here. Google was pulling back there. That looks like an interesting opportunity as it starts to push, especially if the Qs are really going to push here. Google, not a bad opportunity. 2 days pullback, now pulling back here. Doesn't look too bad off this 124.50 area. Look to see if it takes 125 and 125.50s today.
I'm looking at all these. Stocks with high. These are kind of like the squeezy stocks, right? We're seeing Carvana go here, right? So I was just looking at Lemonade. This is ticker LMND. 30.34% of its float shorted. 8.3 days to cover. If we compare that to Carvana up here, oops.
Yeah, that's a squeezy type of name.
We compare that to Carvana. Carvana 59.7% of its float short, only 1.2 days to cover, so much smaller on the days to cover. But one of the other ones here that's interesting is Zim. Oh, I got to take this phone call real quick. Zim, interesting. Mitch, I'm going to put your screen up, okay?
You're good, my friend. All right, Ryan's going to go ahead and take that up. I'll just go ahead and I'll put up Mumu here. So let's talk about it a little bit. We'll see what else is going on there. Affirm going higher today. That's looking good. I'm just going to keep watching there. And definitely those squeezy types of names doing well. ARKK type of names, right? Roku. We'll see if Roku goes higher today, holding out of the 77.50s. Let's see if that goes back to the upside. Disney. Will Disney bounce off the VWAP? We'll see what happens there. Netflix right back into the green. I thought this could get to 500 today before the earnings come in and then see a huge turnaround. Netflix looks like it's up there to 479. We'll see if we start getting this up rip here in the Qs. It looks like it's ripping right now. And Google starting to come back. We'll look to see if those come back. And Meta, all those strong names here. Explore tab you could show here. NASDAQ kind of getting really strong here. Even the SPACs. Luminar doing well. Nikola, Outster doing well. MBIS, how's that one doing today? Still really hasn't taken off. I'm keeping an eye on it. Healthcare plans, we talked about that a little bit earlier today. EV charger is getting a little bit of a lift, so keep your eyes on that. Solar getting a lift today. Looking to see my solar names lift off, but gotta wait. Gotta be patient here. MaxN is one I'm thinking about adding to, but I'm just slightly in the green here. The spread's a little wide, so I'm trying to be patient here if I do want to add MaxN. Oxy, come on, come back. BTU, want to take the upside move? I won't be mad at you. All right, looking around, team. Just try to find some trades here. as we start getting this lift off. Qs have gone higher. SPY, we'll see if the banks continue to push. GS, maybe those names kind of continue to push there. We'll see what happens.
Sorry, had to take that phone call. Real quick, the thing that I was talking about here real quick, looking to start a potential swing in ZIM here. Looking at some of these other names that were highly shorted that had these really, really huge moves. They're names that have been extremely beaten down and have high short interest. If we take a look at the short interest here in ZIM, we've got 23.34% of its float short, 9.62 days to cover. The days to cover is much higher than Carvana. I think maybe this could be one of the next squeeze here. I'd really like this to come down to like a 1350 level. We'll see if we end up getting that. Honestly, if it just starts to run away, I might just grab a little and ride it.
XOM, I'm looking to see if you get back above 102s right now. I'm looking for also pullbacks around the 101.50, 101.60 area. But if you look at the longer term chart and you just kind of scope out a little bit here, you can see there's some resistance to play right at the 102.22 area. See if it can close back above 102.50s today for that bullish reversal kind of signal. One thing I also like is that you're seeing high volume on this turnaround. That's what I want to see. I want to see that high volume as shorters got out and now buyers start to get in. We'll see what happens there. Doom. It's one of those days, guys. Smash the like out there, guys. Nice curl on Carvana being mentioned in the chat. Yeah, it's a lot of stocks making moves today. Industrial's going into the red today. That's interesting. Of course, I already took some profits there in Deere. We'll see what happens if I do get the rest of Deere hit today.
Took a very small starter on ZIM here, as we were just discussing. This would be a swing trade. Very, very small. I'd actually like for this to come back in. 1330, 1350 would be great. I kind of size up here, but starter just in case it goes. New swing trade. Let's go.
I like it, man. I like it.
We're trying to get it done out here, Mitch. We're trying to get it done.
I can't blame you. SPY strong today. We'll see if that turns around and starts getting to the downside here, but it's been a strong day overall. The markets just keep pushing higher. The bubble just keeps driving the stocks higher. Can Tesla get to 300 today?
I mean, it printed 299s already, so I would say, yeah, just needs another push up there. Here, let me put Tesla on the screen here. Sorry, I just kind of left Zim up as I went to go do something else. Look at this move on Tesla.
I think after earnings, if they beat and they give some pretty good commentary, I think it's going to soar. But I think if they miss and they're not very positive on the call, I think there could be some potential downside. And, we'll have complete coverage right here tomorrow morning on live trading.
Is anyone playing Tesla for the earnings print here today? Is anyone long or short going into the print? Would love to hear the thesis for that. I know my Tesla day traders, they're flat for the actual earnings print, but would love to know if any of you folks are playing Tesla for the print.
And I was also going to say, I don't know if Elon Musk is supposed to be on the call tonight or not. If I remember him correctly saying, I don't think he will be, but that's still waiting to hear.
All right. I also like PXD in oil. So I'm looking at oil names today, guys. We'll see if they start to make that up move. This looks good here. It's about a $2 move potential here on PXD. Just got to be careful because the average true range in even a 5-minute candle is 64 cents. So maybe a 12.12 entry first. Then I could risk off of 12.11s. Looking around to see if we're going to take another step up. EMPH had a good day, that's for sure. SEDG looked good earlier at 276. That went to 278. Now pulling back a little bit. AMD, that's pulled back on the day. That could still get some lift on the day. We'll see if the Qs go higher, but AMD is looking interesting here off the bottom. Why? Because AMD got some mention about NVIDIA that I thought was a pretty good mention this morning for it to be pulling back like it is.
Blue at highs here. Bex, weren't you on blue earlier? This moving to highs here. This was good. That was good.
I was going to say Bluebird got a an upgrade this morning from Bank of America to buy from neutral. They say they see an attractive entry point for the biotech company. They say they upgrade to buy because they're positioned to lead an attractive sickle cell gene therapy market.
All right, took a little bit of AMD there. I'm also going to look for maybe a pullback coming back towards 117 or 117.50s here before it really goes. But I like the news this morning on AMD. So that's why I'm taking this little pullback buy. And Ron asking an interesting question. Is Moomoo a Chinese company? Well, they are owned by Futu. So if you want to take a look at them, Futu Holdings doing pretty well on the day. I think that was Ron's real question.
Yeah. So they are owned by Futu. Futu here. Let me actually bring that up here. Let me read this here real quick. Boom, overview. We'll go ahead and read the description for Futu. Futu Holdings is an online broker providing one-stop online investing services. The company provides its services through its digital platform, Futu Neo. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. I'm sorry. Which includes market data, trading services, and news feed of Hong Kong, mainland China, Singapore, and the United States equity markets. It generates its revenue in the form of brokerage commissions and handling charge services. That is the parent company for Moomoo.
All right,
they're actually having a decent day. You're right, Mitch.
Yeah, not having a bad time at all. Why are they up? Because IBKR is up, and it had its earnings, and it actually got hit on its earnings and coming back a little bit on the day. We'll see if it turns around, but Interactive Brokers came in with earnings today.
NVTA and SunW both kind of grinding up today. Someone called out Nightscope earlier. KSCP, how are we doing on Nightscope? 176. Oh, this actually kind of made a run for 2 earlier before rejecting. How's Rigetti doing today? Rigetti doing all right?
All right, guys, it's about 10:54. We're going to start wrapping up in just a second here. Like always, guys, smash the like if you guys enjoyed the action on today's, of course, live trading stream. And like always, you guys can check out Moomoo if you guys are looking for some free stock action. Definitely check it out. I throw up the link multiple times during the chat. Of course, you guys can just look there or take a look at the QR code right on the screen right now. Pull out those phones, get them going here, especially if you guys tune into us on the TV. I know a lot of people just put us up on YouTube and put us up on their TV. So shout out to you guys out there. Definitely check out Moomoo. We're going to start wrapping up the market. It wasn't the best one for me today. I'm definitely in the red as things turned around on me on certain trades there. LAC, ZS not doing the best on there. On Baba, definitely got caught a little bit. SPY just completely getting smacked here, guys. So just be careful out there. Not probably what I wanted to see right now as I was talking to you guys. But look at that. That's a big smack there on the SPY. Be careful out there, team. It looks like we're getting a little bit of a leak now, and we could see some continued downside. With that being said, I got to go worry about my trades as this is really getting hit. Something has to have happened with some news there because that's a pretty hard hit now. 5 point, what is that? A full point there on about 2 minutes. SPY, quick pullback here. Be careful out there, traders. All right, that's going to do it for us. In just a second, I will bring on Zunaid, but definitely, guys, smash the like out there, team, as we get over to All Access. That's coming up next. But, man, a lot of action going on right now in the SPY, so I'm going to have to go focus on my trading action. You guys out there, always give Nick Brown a nice follow. News by Nick. Ryan, of course, R. Faluna. And Money Mitch BZ. If you guys want to give me a follow on Twitter, you guys can always reach out to us. Let us know what you guys are seeing in the stock trading world. And if you guys see a catalyst by any means and you guys don't understand it, definitely give a shout out to my man, Nick Brown. He's an intern here at Benzinga and doing some great things for us, checking all the news for us live here on live trading. He keeps up with our Twitter. So if you guys see him on Twitter, Give them a nice little shout out. We'll see you guys next time right here on Live Trading. Now to switch you guys over to All Access. Going to bring on Zunaid. Going to get out Ryan and Nick. You guys have a good time, guys. We'll see you next time right here. Let's bring on Zunaid, and let's get you guys over to All Access. How we doing, my friend?
Doing well, doing well. What's going on? How you been?
Not too bad, man. We just got some recent action in the SPY. Q's rip up, SPY rips down. Definitely some volatility out there. Earnings, big season, of course. Tonight, you get Netflix and Tesla. I'm sure those are going to be on your radar, Zunaid. Those are your type of stocks, man. I know you like to play that. Netflix, what are you thinking? Tesla, what are you thinking?
I'm just going to wait for the price action because it hasn't already before the earnings. But Netflix had a nice move after it broke 450 yesterday. I think it had a nice $23 move, give or take. So fun stuff ahead. No doubt about it.
Of course, like always, you guys smash the like. Stay tuned right here and stay watching here as we get into PDS Biotechnology. Sounds interesting. I'm going to take a watch, of course, and look into this opportunity. You guys keep watching the markets. Talk about it in the chat and also talk about the opportunity coming up right now. You guys have a good time.
All right. Appreciate it. Thank you so much, Mitch. And that's right. You guys know that we love to bring on executives on this show to make sure that we can get your questions answered. And we've got a great interview lined up today with Dr. Bedu Addo, who is the CEO and director of PDS Biotechnology. Ticker on NASDAQ is BDSB. All Access starts right now. Dr. Bedu Addo, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I am doing well. Thank you so much again for hanging out with us here. There's a lot that we want to get into. It's interesting. While we were doing research, it kind of took me back to my biology class and all those other good things. So I saw T cells and I was like, oh man, this is going to be a fun one. But before we get into the nitty gritty of things, if you could please explain it to me like I'm 5, what is it that your company does?
Well, our company is a mid to late clinical stage biotech company. Our company develops immunotherapies that train the immune system to specifically target cancer, right? So we're developing a broad pipeline of targeted immunotherapies based on our Versamune T cell activating platform. And this promotes induction of the right type and right quantity of tumor infiltrating killer T cells. We're also developing a pipeline based on our novel antibody conjugated cytokine IL-12, which is also designed to infiltrate the tumors of patients. So our lead product, which is based on our Versamune technology, is being developed to treat HPV-related cancers like cervical cancer, anal cancer, head and neck, vaginal, vulva cancers. And we currently have 3 phase 2 clinical trials ongoing with PDS-0101. All have generated very encouraging data to date. And we're looking to move this into the phase 3 registrational trial starting later this year. This product has been granted fast track designation by the FDA, and the phase 2 data from our Versatile 002 trial was actually presented at ASCO last month.
Gotcha. I've got some notes here. I want to follow up on that, but actually, let's just do it right now. You mentioned you have 3 phase 2 trials that are currently going on with them starting later this year, phase 3 starting. Is that phase 3 starting for all 3 phase 2 trials or just one of them, or what are we looking at?
It's for one of those 3 trials. So this would be for our trial in HPV positive head and neck cancer.
Got it. Thank you for that insight. We'll dive into that here in a second. But how are T cells, right? Because we talked about that here briefly. How are they critical in fighting cancer? How do they kind of help along the way?
Well, that's a really good question because I think many companies are developing products that lead to induction of T cells. But what's very important, as you mentioned earlier, is not all T cells are created equal. And so what's important here is to be able to induce the right type of killer T cell. It has to have the right killing potency, and we also have to be able to induce them in the right quantity, right? And that's where our Versamune technology is unique, able to induce the right type, the right potency, and the right quantity. And by being able to do that and allow them to target the tumors, right? So again, I keep on talking about tumor infiltrating. Not having them in the circulating blood, but actually able to target, infiltrate, and kill the patient's tumors is what's really critical about an effective T cell.
And please correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you also have a flu vaccine, right? So how does this technology, whether this one or something else, help with that, the flu vaccine?
So with our flu vaccine, very interesting, what we're developing is what you call a universal flu vaccine. So you may be aware that with flu season, every flu season, we have to develop a new flu vaccine that is supposed to be hopefully effective against a particular strain of flu that will be prevalent that particular year. Very often, the flu vaccine is less than 30 to 50% effective. What we're developing, however, is what we call a universal flu vaccine, which should be effective, hopefully, against multiple strains of the flu. And this will prevent the need to develop a new flu vaccine every year based upon the anticipated prevalence strain of flu that particular year. Right. And this particular approach involves both the induction of antibodies, right? So we've heard a lot about neutralizing antibodies with COVID, right? So with this flu vaccine that we're developing, the goal is to be able to induce neutralizing antibodies, but also very importantly, induce T cells, because T cells are the attackers of the immune system. And what happens with these viruses is the regions of the virus that change and mutate are the regions of the viruses that antibodies usually detect and neutralize against. But if you can develop T cells that also attack the conserved areas of the virus that don't mutate, then you have the potential to develop a universal vaccine. And that's the approach we are taking to developing our universal vaccine. And we're doing that in collaboration with the National Institutes of Health.
Yeah, and I'll get to that in a second here, but I also wanted to talk about the data that you recently presented at the ASCO. Give me some high-level highlights here.
Well, we had a pretty active ASCO conference, and this data was specific to our Versatile 002 trial that's evaluating PDS0101, our HPV-targeted immunotherapy, and Keytruda in patients with HPV-16 positive recurrent or metastatic head and neck cancer. So the data was actually presented by Dr. Catherine Price at Mayo Clinic, who is co-director of their Comprehensive Cancer Center. And the data was also selected for discussion at the Head and Neck Cancer Special Session. So we presented data on patient safety, objective responses, patient progression-free survival, and patient overall survival. Now, with objective response, a patient has an objective response if their tumors shrink by 30% or more. We utilized objective response rate specifically as a rapid tool to obtain confirm statistically improved efficacy of the PDS0101 Keytruda combination over the historical Keytruda monotherapy data that has been well reported and documented. We have successfully demonstrated that statistical superiority of the combination, or the statistical improvement in clinical efficacy. That's why we're moving to phase 3. Now, moving to the data that the FDA and head and neck cancer oncologists actually care about, safety and overall survival. In those two areas, we also presented some very impressive data. So starting with safety, it's been very well documented that patients who take Keytruda monotherapy, which is the standard of care, have approximately 17% of these patients will have what you call treatment-related severe adverse events, right? So these would be grade 3, grade 4, and grade 5 toxicities, with increasing grade with severity in the toxicity.
Right.
Now, the patients who took PDS0101 and the combination, PDS0101 and Keytruda, we reported that 8%, just 8% of these patients had a severe treatment-related adverse event. Now, that's important also because out of these 8%, all of them were grade 3s. There were no grade 4s and no grade 5 toxicity. So really exciting safety data, very well tolerated to date by these patients. Now, moving on to the most critical data, which is overall survival of these patients. Now, patients who take the checkpoint inhibitors, which are the standard of care, the 12-month overall survival rate for these patients is anywhere from 30 to 50%. Now, to put that in perspective, what that means is that if a patient is diagnosed with recurrent or metastatic head and neck cancer, the probability that they will live 12 months is less than 50%. However, what our data showed here is that if the patients took the combination of PDS0101 and Keytruda, the probability that they would live 12 months is almost 90%.
Wow.
87.1% to be exact. And this is the power, the potential power of an effective targeted immunotherapy. The goal here is to be able to move this, as I said, into a registrational trial. This is actually what really impressed the head and neck cancer oncologists, and that led the data to be selected for discussion at that session. But some of the comments from that event were novel mechanism of action, impressive safety, impressive overall survival, and the opinion that the data warranted moving into a controlled randomized phase 3 registrational trial, which is exactly what we are planning to do in the fourth quarter of this year. So we are hopeful that this could potentially be the first HPV targeted immunotherapy for cancer. And we're really anxious to rapidly get this out there to the patients who are really desperately in need of more effective and safe treatments for this really debilitating and devastating cancer.
That 87% plus is definitely an impressive stat. So we've talked about the PDS 0101. We've talked about Keytruda as well. I want to talk about the IL-12. Can you tell us a little bit about that pipeline and if you have any data available for that?
Yes, we can certainly talk about that. So that product is what we now call PDS 0301. And that, as I mentioned, is an antibody conjugated to the IL-12. And that antibody targets cancer. So the IL-12, rather than staying in the blood circulation, actually infiltrates the patient's tumors. And we've seen really strong synergistic data in combination with our Versamune platform technology. So, for example, with that product, one of the pipeline products is a triple combination being developed and run by the National Cancer Institute. So they combine PDS 0101 with the IL-12 product, PDS 0301, and a checkpoint inhibitor. And one arm of the study they're evaluating is actually in patients who have failed all treatment options, including checkpoint inhibitors. So these are the terminally ill patients. These patients historically have a survival of anywhere from 3 to 8 months, depending on the therapy they take. Right. In this trial, what the National Cancer Institute has reported is that with this combination of our IL-12 and our PDS-0101 checkpoint inhibitor, the median overall survival is 21 months. So here again, you see the power of an effective targeted immunotherapy that can actually induce what we call memory T cells, right? So these are memory killer T cells that survive for a prolonged period of time and actually have that long-term memory and can sustain that anti-tumor effect. So very encouraging data there. We actually announced just 2 days ago on Monday that another study being done with by the National Cancer Institute with this product, combining PDS 0301, the IL-12 product, with chemotherapy, docetaxel specifically, in advanced metastatic prostate cancer, has just been accepted for oral presentation at the Cytokines 2023 conference. And so another pipeline of products that the National Cancer Institute is evaluating, combining that IL-12 product with standard of care, such as chemotherapy, radiation treatment, for example. So we have a lot of optimism about the potential of both our Versamune products as well as our IL-12 based products, and the data to date has been extremely encouraging.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the data comes out for the phase 3 trial that you mentioned is starting later this year. I mean, it looks like you're attacking a lot of different things. We talked about the flu vaccine. We've talked about the head and neck cancer, other cancers you're focusing on as well. And then, of course, the IL-12 pipeline, which I believe you said is now PDS 0103. Right. Is that correct? Let me go ahead and kind of turn the tables over to you. 0301. Thank you for the correction there. Let's talk about if there's anything else that I forgot to kind of bring up. We talked about a lot. We've recapped the past and present and what we can look onto in the future as well. Was there anything else that you want to talk to our viewers about before we head out?
Well, I think we are very optimistic about the next 12 months. We have a number of catalysts coming up over the next 12 months. I'm really led by initiation of our Versatile 003 phase 3 trial, which we anticipate starting in the fourth quarter of this year. We are hopeful that we haven't talked about our Immunoserve trial in cervical cancer. We are hopeful that we'll see some additional data from that trial that's being run by MD Anderson Cancer Center. There's another trial being run by Mayo Clinic in earlier stage oral cancer. We are hopeful that we'll see preliminary data from that trial. And we've also talked about the PDS 0301 pipeline, where we're also expecting potentially exciting data coming out in prostate cancer, for example. And we also have studies ongoing colon cancer. And the triple combination also talked about hopefully some additional survival data from the National Cancer Institute. But we also plan to have the final data from our phase 2 Versatile 002 trial sometime in the second quarter of next year. So quite a busy and exciting year coming up for PDS Biotechnology.
And I look forward to having more conversations as those results come out. Thank you so much. That is Dr. Bedu Addo, who is the CEO and director of PDS Biotechnology. Ticker on NASDAQ is PDSB. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely. And as always, you've heard a great conversation here. Do your due diligence, see if this is worth investing your hard-earned money in. What's interesting to me is that they have so many different things happening at the company where they can possibly go ahead and see some exciting results. But as always, do your own due diligence. And as always, thank you for watching All Access.